it's a new day and I want to get something done. I was actually thinking of making the inlay on the 12th fret today, but I don't think I'm gonna have time to do it, and I want to try to make it all happen in one day. I also don't really have an idea yet, which is kind of annoying. I've posted for some ideas on Instagram. You guys have given me some good ideas, but you haven't given me what I'm looking for, so hopefully someone is gonna tell me and I'll get something. I have one idea, but I need to experiment with it a little bit to see if I can make it work for me, because as of this moment it's not working for me. But anyway, here I have the outrun of the pickguard that we designed in last video, and I'm gonna put this into the computer, and I'm gonna scan this into the computer, and I'm gonna scan in the pickups, and I'm gonna see if I can fit them in here without having to draw a bunch. I'll do that between this and the next video, because even though maybe some of you want to see me do that, I don't know how I would show you that, because it's on the computer and I would have to like download a program that lets me record in the computer or something, which maybe is a good thing to do, but I don't have the time to spend on that right now, to sit around and looking for that and figure that out and all of that. So I'll do that in the computer and I'll tell you what I did when we go to do that. But what we can do is we can measure out where the pickguard is going to be and what it's going to cover with this template, because I'm not going to change the outline of it in any way. It's just adding the controls in, you know, the holes for the switches and stuff. Yeah, what we can do is we can route the cavity that the pickguard is going to cover, because I decided that I think I'm going to do like a swim pool sort of route thing. And the reason why is because the guitar body is really heavy and I think it's a good idea to get a bunch of it out of there, so it becomes a little bit lighter. Can you tell it's early in the morning and I'm tired? Because that's what I am. But anyway, I'm gonna move the camera over here by the vise and have the body a little bit higher up, and we're just gonna draw. So yeah, let's go. Whoa! All right, so here is the body, here is the paper template that we made in the last video, and the clamp again is just to make sure that the body is in frame. I don't want to have to look up at the screen and make sure you see everything every second. I just want to go. And so yeah, here we have it. I'm gonna align it, and then I'm gonna use my awl. So I'm gonna try to push this up here and push this down here. Put my hand on it, press this out into the edge and mark out then all where I want the screws to go, because that's very important. The screws are gonna let us know where we can't route, because we need a tiny lip that allows us to screw it in. So if you're doing this, you're freehand routing and you're freehand making a template and you're doing all of this sort of things the way I'm doing it, which is you know, a little bit more off the cuff, then you need to make these marks. Let's do them again just to make sure they are very visible. Whew. I think that was all of them. And so now we can take our template and we can hold it up to these, and we can push them a little bit further behind, and we can draw out a line like so, and then we can push this up against before a little bit inside these. We can connect those two as well. And we can round this over to make it a little bit nicer. We can find something that is round even, if we want to be really good boys, or gals, or cats. If you're a cat, let me know, because I don't think I have any cats that are watching my videos, but I might be wrong. Something like that. Something like that. Now if I push this up to the actual holes, you can see how I cover up this inner line without having problems. That one there. I knew I missed something. Really make sure you can see those. So I try to just use this as a way to help myself, basically. And it doesn't have to be super over the top pretty, you know. We're not making like a super defined thing right now. We are just marking out where we don't want to go, basically, so that we are not ruining things for ourselves. And we might have to modify this later, but you know, we'll fix that when we get to that. So there we go, there we go. I'll bring this one back in to see if I can round this over a little bit more smoothly. Find something like that. And then here we have to just eyeball this a little bit. Like something like that. We can also take the bridge and do that, but I don't want to have to bring it out again. So from there to there. Something like that. And then from here to here. You know, I'm actually just gonna go down here, I think. Like so. And then I'm gonna, because I don't think I want to remove here. You could very easily do that and get to the truss rod. But I'm not sure about the truss rod. Like, I mean, I don't want to be like that, you know, but I'm not sure about the truss rod. So I'm gonna connect that. And I'm gonna round this here over. Because I want to try to make this cavity look good, you know? And I'll take this measurement and I'll add it here. And then I'll go around like that. But I won't, there's no point in doing that, so I'll just connect it like that, I think. Something like that, maybe. Now the question is, obviously, does this matter? Do I want anything here? And the thing is, maybe I do. So I think I'm going to route this out, even though maybe I don't. You know? Yeah. And this here, we can just connect, because there's no point in routing that. So we can take back our template and we can look up here. We can just connect like that, because I don't think there's any point in routing that. Right. I mean, it could potentially be because it's hard to get around, but I think the same thing goes here. So I think I'm going to connect that there to up there. I'm just going to go like that. And we'll have to see with the controls, but I don't think there's a point in going in and out and up and down and all of that. You know, we keep it simple. So let's remove this here and here. And then here. And I think we have enough cavity that it will lighten up the body a little bit. And also, we'll see if we can get everything in there. I'm a little bit worried that we won't, but I'm gonna take the bridge out if I can find it. Like this is gonna sit there. And this is gonna sit here, which means we have a little bit of a gap. So maybe that's good, actually. I think that's good. I know we could route up into the bridge, but the pickguard has a little bit of a piece of wood in between, and that means we would have a cavity there and the pickguard wouldn't go all the way, and it would just be a mess. And we could design it to go all the way, but I don't wanna. So next step is taking something that we can see a lot easier. So I'm gonna take this pen here and I'm gonna try to fill in, but I'm gonna fill in on the inside of where I've marked. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because when we go to route and freehand route this, it's going to be very easy for us to do a mistake. And it's going to be very easy for us to not see it, because I can see what I've painted now, but you know, with the machine in the way and the sawdust and all of that, I might have issues. Yeah, and I'm not very good at filling this in, I'm noticing. So I wasted a bunch of time trying to make it look nice, because I effed it up before I even tried. Alright, here. Do I want to leave a little bit sticking up here so that I have a... I think I do. So I'm gonna... Because you want something that is, you know, on the... helping the pickguard to stay up. Basically. So I'm gonna go like this. I almost forgot that. And I'm gonna go like this. There we have it. Now I'm thinking I'll route this in two ways, and make this as deep as I can, and make this, that is the space between the neck and the bridge, as low as I can, basically. Which I don't really know what that is yet, but I know one thing, and that is that I can use this to pre-drill a little bit. And if you wonder why I pre-drill like this, it's just to save on my bit. Alright, so I'm gonna just hunk all of this away. And first I'm just gonna go up here and I'm gonna go to the bottom so I have it thick enough for this bearing to ride. And I'm just gonna hug everything away, go up to the black, stay on the inside and clean it up. And then I'm gonna measure the pickups and get this down to the right depth here, and then here I'm gonna try to go as deep as I can and leave maybe 5 or 7 mils or something. So let's just do some routing and hope that everything turns out great. Just realized maybe I should have some eye protection on. I wonder where I've put my glasses. Oh, there they are. When you're really close to the router, like here looking, don't forget to have eye protection on. And again, I'm just routing like a little, as close as I can so I can make a perfect ridge for my bearing to ride on, so that I can make everything else look nice afterwards. Sometimes clamping down on this just makes me feel a little tired, but we'll see how far I can get before I need to take a break. Ah! The thing isn't on. But you can see how I'm starting to get like a nicer shape, and I'll go in with a file and clean it up a little bit to make sure the router bearing will go around neatly. I'll try to do this up here and then I'll move the clamp and do that. Whew. Yeah. Okay. I'll just see if I can move this in here. Too much effort. That. And then let's clean up this area as well. The router over there, and I think just super quickly. Whew. Right. Just see if I can find some tools to just clean up this edge a little bit to make it a little bit nicer. It's not something that you necessarily have to do, but if you're gonna try to trick people that you, well, not to trick them, but if you want it to look like you've done this with a template, you know, you could either make a template or you can smooth out this edge that we've created where you feel like it's a little wonky. Something like that. Okay. Now I want to put this down here to the body, so I'll do it right here. And I'll clamp down the body again. Obviously, that's a good idea. I was almost about to forget it. Ah! Come on, get stuck. Okay, so how thick is that pickup? Let's see. Here we have the pickups. Stand there. This one is about 17 mil. This one is about 23, and that's because it has these legs. And this one is about 20. So let's go down to 25, because I really don't care too much about this. It's not important. So put this up here, it's lined up with the body. Take my stop gauge that is on the opposite side for you, there, and I make sure it is exactly at 0 and the top of the body is 0, and then I push it up to 25, which is there. I lock it. Come on. There we go. Then I can push it down and see how much further into the cavity I need to go. And we're at 14 mils left to go. I'm gonna take a drill bit. How thick is this drill bit? It's about 14. So let's just give ourselves a little bit extra. Here and there. And we'll just see what happens. And we'll have to clean this off every now and then. Let's break this off real quick if we can. There we go. Let's see if we can get around that, or if it's gonna not work. We might have to put on a brace. You can see how it goes. I'll stay away from this because this one is not. It's too deep. Alright, now I just need to do a little bit of cleanup with another bit around the edges because this one was too deep, and I'm gonna check the depth here and see, if maybe I wanna make maybe just a little bit there. And there it's a little bit. Maybe I wanna make the cavities even deeper. I'm gonna check. Let's take a look here real quick, hopefully before the battery goes out. The entire body's thickness is 43, and this cavity is 25. So that means what does that mean? That means We have a pretty... It doesn't matter. Let's check another thing. That is the body significantly lighter or is it too heavy? Yeah. Nah. It's probably good. Yeah, it's probably good. I'm gonna pause here and I'm just gonna do a cleanup. The bit is about... I mean, the camera is about to die. I just want to show you real quick. Here's a bit, and it's not the one we're going to use. We're going to use the shorter one because this one is too tall. You can see how the bearing won't reach. But I'll do that little cleanup, and I'll be back. So yeah. All right. So I can take these off now. Whew, I need a break. I need to clean up in here because there's sawdust everywhere, as you probably can tell. You just look at that, it's like everywhere. Anyway, I can't really do anything more right now. I mean, I can route the pocket for the control plate, the jack plate thing. But I need to take a break. As I've said before, when I work with this wood, there is a lot of dust. It's like someone spraying you in the face with perfume. So I have a bunch of ventilation things going on. That's what you can hear in the background. And so yeah, I need to just let the air filtrate for a little bit. I have an industrial air filterer thing, which I don't think I've really ever said that I have, but it's like an industrial. It's supposed to be able to work in a big space, and in here, you know, it's a small space. I think it takes about 5 minutes for it to basically change all the air in this room. But anyway, it's not important. Here's the body right now. I just want to show you what we've done. So here is the cavity, and here is the more cleaned up version. And just because I felt like I was doing a bunch of things and I was talking at the same time and I was rushing through it, I just want to explain that I had one bit that I chunked everything out with, basically, and I could have used something better. Like, for example, I could have used something like this, the really big fat one, to chunk out more material in a go, and then use the tinier one to clean up the edges. You know, it's just because the length dictates how far down you can go, and you don't want to have a spot where you can't go down and have the bearing riding along the side, because then you'll maybe, potentially, most likely, you'll wander off. But anyway, that's it. I hope you understand. We'll jump into a Q&A now. And... ooh, I'm not going to do that this time, actually. We'll jump into the Q&A, see what you guys have to say. So, bye, and thanks so much for watching.
Oh my God! It's time for the Q&A, yeah.
Hello. So, we do have a question here in today's video, and it comes from Jules Smith, who says, looks like you don't use a template. Do you find that it's that to be fairly easy? Any thoughts on how powerful of a router you need? Can you get by with a trim router? Well, first of all, yes, you can get by with a trim router. The only thing you have to think about is that you might have to make a new base for it, because a trim router usually has a very small base that it sits on. You take off the bottom plate and you cut out a replica of it where the holes sync up, but you make it wider so that you can get more surface area underneath for it to rest on. Second of all, the router power isn't really that important in this case, because usually, or at least you should, remove the bulk of the material with a drill bit, and drill with a big bit, something like a 16 mil or something. You drill a bunch of holes and then you just route the rest away. Obviously, you might find some sort of really cheap brand knockoff copy thing when it comes to like power tools that are really bad, and don't use those. But if you're using something like maybe a DeWalt or a Bosch, for example, you know, a big name brand power tool, then the power the voltage of the power tool in itself and the force that it can use isn't super necessary when it comes to guitar. Obviously, I think it's good to buy good tools anyway, because a thing like a router is good even if you're not building guitars. So it's a good tool to have. You can use it to make tables or other furnitures, and you can use it to copy things and make replicas of things very easy with a template system. So investing in a good router is still really good. And I'm actually thinking of getting a trim router. I don't have one. I mean, I have a modified smaller trim router, but I'm thinking of getting a more standard real trim router, because I've noticed that my hands are not really, they don't like the fact that the regular big router, you need to push in 2 buttons and hold them down to be able to use the router, and it's just too much strain on my hands. And I'm thinking that I need to do something about that, because in the future I might have problems. So yeah, I don't want to get arthritis or something like that. So I think I'm actually going to get a trim router at some point. So we'll delve into that, but it will be next year, most likely, because I don't really see a point in buying one right now, since I don't have any routing left to do. But yeah, it's actually super easy when it comes to hand routing. You know, without a template, freehand routing. You just draw out what you want to route, and you first off make a ledge, like a little border around, where you just go down about 5 mil and you make that look as nice as you can. You can clean it up with sandpaper and a file and make it look nice, and then you use the bearing on the bit in that groove that you made to clean it up and make it look perfect. And sometimes you have to make a new base for your router if you're routing out something really big, or leave small little pillars in the middle that you can clean up with a chisel as space for the router to sit. But I find it fairly easy to do, and as long as you're not doing something that is like professional work that you're selling, then I don't think you actually need to do it, because it's all covered by pickguards and things like that. I've said this before, but I think a valuable thing to learn is when you need to spend extra time and when you don't need to spend extra time. And I think that if you're building something especially for yourself, that is going to be covered by something and it's not going to be visible, then you don't have to think about certain things. Like, for example, figured wood. If you're going to do a solid collar on a guitar, you don't need to think about figured maple tops or something like that, because it's going to get covered. If you're going to make a Strat and have a pickguard, I think you should try to make it look nice on the inside under the pickguard, but really, if you have to do some freehand routing or something, it's not a big deal. Focus on things like, for example, the neck pocket, to make sure that's really tight and nice, because that's a structural thing and it is visible. You know, if someone is playing the guitar and they have a little gap around the neck, it's going to be noticeable. But yeah, I find it very, very easy to do. I've seen some videos of people talking about it and making it seem like it's a really big deal, but I really think it's not. Just be careful, take it slow, and yeah, and try to remove as little as possible with every go you have. So you go around and you take off like 0.5 mil or something, so that the router doesn't bite in, because it's when the router bites into the wood and it either rips out a chunk or it like flies out of your hands and you lose control. It's when you lose control that you get into issues. But as long as you make sure you don't lose control, and the way you lose control is practice. You practice, and you buy some cheap wood. You cut out some weird shapes, you route them out, you know, you make squiggly, weird, uneven shapes, and you just practice. And you'll learn how the tool behaves and how it moves and what it wants to do. And you just control that. And it's after a while, it's really
routers are scary in the beginning, but after a while you'll get the hang of it. So yeah, just buy yourself like some cheap lumber, a board or two, and just destroy them with the router, and you'll have the hang of it. It will take a couple of hours, and then you'll be the router master. So do that, and thanks so much for the question. I hope we'll get more questions in later videos, but until then, don't forget to stay awesome and cool, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.